Welcome everybody to the show today. We have a very special guest, Josh Keaton. Can't wait to talk to this man. Been a fan of his for a very, very long time. And I think we're going to have a blast talking games, TV, movies, World of Warcraft, Spider-Man. I mean, the resume on this man is incredible. I mean, we could be here all day. Let me just rattle off a couple of roles that this man's been involved with. Spider-Man in the spectacular Spider-Man TV series. Shiro in Ultron, Ocelot in MGS, Iron Man and Iron Man VR, Lucas in Knack, Ryu, Ninja Gaiden 2, Avad, Horizon Zero Dawn, Robin, Arkham Origins. I mean, unbelievable resume. I say we get into it. Enough beating around the bush. I hope you enjoy, guys. Hey! Josh, I can't hear you, but this is my fault. So give me 1 second here. Talk to me, Josh. There we go. You're all good.
You hear me now?
Yeah. Well, where are you? Are you in space or where are you, man?
Well, technically, we are all in space. So we're just on a big rock in skin suits flying around. But yeah.
I like that.
I'm in the astral plane.
No, seriously.
I'm just in my studio right now. This is just white paper backdrop.
Oh, wow. So have you always had a studio, or did you get that going for COVID, or what?
I actually had a studio before that. I used to be the voice of this gossip show, and I would have to kind of do that every single day, and you know, basically just talk about what the fluff stories of the day would be. And so that was something that I had to do every day, regardless of like what was going on. So I had to put in, like, I wouldn't even get the job unless I had a studio at home. So that was probably about 10 or 11 years ago that I got that job, and that lasted actually for like 10 years. So it was a good job while it lasted. And so I had to make an investment to get a vocal booth and all that, probably about 11 years ago. And then, I mean, I'm a techie, man. Like, I love gear. I love technology. I love tweaking stuff and building things. So it was just something where once I had that investment, I just started upgrading. And I'm also a singer, musician, and stuff. So I already had like the desire to get other gear for that. So a lot of my gear is kind of overkill for voiceover, but you know, they're toys, you know. So I just kind of went from there. And then by the time the pandemic hit, I was actually pretty well prepared to make that transition, because right now, like, so much more work has not only gone to home recording, but stayed that way. I mean, I'd say about 90% of my work, even this year, has been from home, and productions that normally would have been things that I would have had to go in for. They just do it at home. Like, if you have something that can sound broadcast quality at home, then they're fine with it. They're fine with it. So where I'm recording now is like right outside my vocal booth, like behind that backdrop is where my vocal booth is, and so it's a little boomy in here. I haven't really treated this space yet, but I'm working on that. Just lumber's really expensive, and I was gonna build all my sound panels and everything, but like plywood sheets are crazy still, so I'm waiting for that to go down a little bit.
What
You know,
what mic? What is some mics you're a fan of, brother?
Well, the workhorse that I usually use is a Sennheiser 416. That's what I'm talking on right now. That's I have another one in there for you know, in my booth, because it's not a big booth. It's like 4x4, which is actually kind of terrible dimensions. Had I known that when I first got this booth, because I was thrown into it kind of deer in headlights. They're like, you're gonna get this job, but you have to get a booth, and you start next week. So I had no time to really research anything. It was really just, I have to buy a booth. So I went and I bought a prefab booth and
Hold on, where do you buy a booth? Like, where do you buy that from?
there are different companies. I'd rather not like plug this.
No,
company
no,
because,
don't plug them. But like,
I haven't been happy with the booth. It took like days worth of work and tuning and a ton of extra foam and other things to get it to not sound boxy. And the build quality was really not all that great. So, you know, one of these days I'll upgrade it. But like I said, I love to tweak things. I love to build things. So I've got it sounding really good now. But in a small space like that, 416s are really, really good because they pretty much reject anything that's not like right on axis. So you don't really hear the room as much. Whereas if I was on like a Neumann or something, like you'd hear a lot more of the room. Neumanns are really pricey. I'm probably gonna get like a TLM. Was it the 102 or the 103? There's one that's like, you know, the smaller version of the U87. Or maybe I'll just save up for a U87.
You really are a geek because you know you know your codes. You'll say UA47 and
I have a Rode K2, which is an Aussie mic actually, and I bought it before it was cool. So
this is a Rode.
Like, yeah. Rodes are good mics, man. I got it's the K2, which is the tube mic, the tube version of like the NTK. And I had it upgraded by this guy who's sadly no longer in business. His name is Michael Jolie, and he used to do this thing called the Octava mod, and it basically made it sound more Neumann-esque, and it sounds great. But again, like it's not great in a small room because you can hear that it's a small room. So if I ever get a bigger vocal booth, then I'll probably use that mic a lot more. But I mean, it's a great sounding mic. It's not serviceable anymore because he's no longer in business. He just he couldn't compete with a lot of the cheaper mics that were coming out of China that were really good Neumann knockoffs. So sadly, he's no longer in business. But I
always hear Neumann. You know, whenever I talk to actors,
they're like those are the ones that they use all the time. It's either going to be a U87, a TLM 102, or a Sennheiser 416. That's pretty much the main three that they use. And I mean, there are exceptions. Sometimes they use. There's this other little Neumann. No, it's not. I don't even think it's a Neumann. I don't know who makes it, but it's like a little tiny mic. It's so cute, and it looks like a joke. It looks like the Apogee. Have you seen like the Apogee mic, the MIC or whatever? It's literally like this. It's not that. It's a different brand, but it looks kind of like that. And the first time I saw it, I'm like, "You're gonna record me on that? That's like tiny," and they sound amazing. So, yeah.
Kisma, he says, thank you for the Spider-Man memes. And
oh, you're very welcome. That was actually my wife's idea, and it's her birthday today. So
oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, like the only thing she really wanted to do is she's a huge gamer, just like myself. So well, we're not huge, we're like average size. But she likes to play lots of video games, and we've been playing a lot of Minecraft. So that's actually what I was doing right before this, and that's what I'm going to be doing right when I'm done. My kids were first into it. And so, but again, I'll get back to that. But yeah, it was her idea for me to do the Spider-Man memes. She basically, she saw back, I guess, what was it, 2010, or I don't even remember when I did them.
2013.
Was it 13? Yeah. Where she saw the Spider-Man memes, and she had actually told me this like 2 years beforehand. And she's like, "There's a lot of Spider-Man memes out. You should read them as Spectacular Spider-Man." And I don't know why I didn't do it just like right off the bat. But I finally got around to it like years later, and it was like my first YouTube video to ever get like more than 1 million views.
I was going to say, did you expect that? Did you expect that blow up?
No, I didn't. Like, it was funny. Like, I put them up, and I was just kind of nervously checking what the views were at, and then all of a sudden I just started seeing them jump and jump and jump and jump, and I started seeing people sharing it, and the retweets and all the like the reshares and all that were going out of control. And then we had to go to dinner that night, and I wouldn't do anything except stare at my phone and just keep refreshing because I was like, oh my god, there's still more views, this is insane. And yeah, like that, it was crazy. So I did a couple more, and by that time I think I'd gone through most of the really, really good Spider-Man memes. Everything that I saw left was like either like racist or homophobic or just really horrible stuff that I would never ever imagine Peter saying, and like I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. So I really tried to just keep them into memes that I could see Peter saying, because you know I've been a Spider-Man fan my whole life. I totally respect the character, and I wasn't gonna do anything untoward with him. So yeah, so I wish I would have put those up earlier. And then my wife had a similar idea for when I was on Voltron for Shiro. She's like, you should sing "You're Welcome" as Shiro, and I was like, that's a good idea. And it still took me like a year after she told me to do it, and that's my highest viewed video. That's like that's over 2 million.
I know, views. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I have to listen to her a lot more because she has great ideas, and I can get very lazy and not do them, and yeah. So, but yeah, so we were playing Minecraft. We're gonna go play some more. I finally built some portals into the Nether, and I've been farming in there.
Dude, I had to give up Minecraft because I could just play it for hours.
Like the time just goes away like that, and same thing with Warcraft. Like I think anything with craft in the name, it's just your life is just going to disappear into the ether.
You can only play those two games. You must be only playing those two games. You wouldn't have time for anything else.
I mean, I hate to say it, but you're absolutely right about that. I just started Twitch streaming, so it's basically I'm gonna force myself to start playing other games, and I was really just trying to get a PS5, and I didn't want to pay even a penny over retail because I'm just not gonna support scalping and all of that. I think it's horrible what's been happening. So I finally got one. It'll be here on Friday. And so what I'm going to do is that's going to go in the living room, and then the PlayStation 4 that's in the living room is going to come into my office, and then I have this thing that I'm going to hook it up to, and then I'll be able to start streaming other stuff. So I will be forcing myself to just get out of my WoW. Well, I actually haven't streamed Minecraft. I've really only been streaming WoW because that's the only game I have on my computer. So yeah, I'll start streaming some Minecraft stuff. That'll probably be more like stream and chat because that's a much less thought-intensive game than something like Warcraft, where like you're always in danger of being ganked, or if I'm PvPing, like I really got to focus on this or whatever. So yeah, so it'll be a lot more chill. And then there's a bunch of other games that I want to play. Like my buddy AJ, who I was in Voltron with, he's been trying to get me to play Dark Souls forever.
Because, have fun with that one.
It's super punishing, and I really enjoy punishing games. So
do you?
Yes, I do. So he really wants me to play it. He actually bought me a copy of it, and I told him, I'm like, as soon as I get a PS5 and I can move my PS4 into here, I will start playing that and I'll stream that.
Love it.
So yeah, so I'm gonna be expanding my repertoire of games that I stream, and it's also just so that I can kind of get out of my tunnel brain with all the craft games, because you're right. Like with two games like that, like you don't really play anything else. And I used to be so much more of a diverse gamer in terms of like what I would play. I love everything. I love driving games. I love shooters. I love looter shooters.
Give us some of your favorite PS4 games.
I was a big fan of Fallout New Vegas. That was more PS3. And Fallout 3. I liked Fallout 4. I never played Fallout 76 because, like, when I saw what they were doing with it, like, I was like, this really isn't what I signed on for. Like, I want my own world to inhabit and not necessarily something with a bunch of random people. And, like, I wish that they would have done co-op like Minecraft does it, where somebody can come in split screen, or you can invite somebody into your world and it's just you guys in there and that's it. Like, I wasn't really feeling with what they did. I like Outer Worlds. I haven't finished it, so I need to go back and finish that. I'm a big fan of all the Borderlands games. Like I loved those games. They're so much fun to pick up. Even the first one is still fun to play. Great replayability. Lots of fun story. Yeah, like those were probably some of my favorites of the last generation. I love driving games. I haven't really played any on the PS4. Now? I love driving games because I'm a big car guy too. Like I love cars. I used to do drag racing and go to Laguna Seca and do all that kind of stuff. Wrenching on cars, modding stuff. Like
So you've seen Fast 9?
I haven't seen Fast 9. No, I gotta see it. I'm behind on.
Oh, sorry, that's not actually a car movie anymore. It's something completely different.
They've been getting more and more ridiculous. And the thing that I love it. I love it. Like at a certain point. Because I mean, even the first one, where they had the whole scene set up where they were in the Civics and they were robbing the truck and everything. Like already I could see that. And I'm like, those Civics are stock ride height, and there's no way that a stock ride height Civic is ever going to get underneath a tractor trailer. There's no way. Like, if you see a stock ride height Civic, or even if it was lowered, I mean, even if it was slammed, it's still not going to.
So how do they do that? They get the truck up higher.
The truck was it was lifted, and so it was really just movie magic. But I mean, some of the stuff that they did was already out there in the first one, and I mean,
you should see this
I
one,
kind
mate.
of like the jump the shark. I kind of like the jump the shark aspect that they went with it, where they just kind of kept going more and more ridiculous as the movies flowed. And I mean, it's like a comic book at that point. It's like superheroes, I guess, but the superheroes are cars, and it's just set in a whole different reality where these things are possible, and I'm cool with that. Like,
This
I
makes
like
Superman look realistic, this movie.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if you lean into it with your whole chest, then I think it's cool. I mean, it's only when you don't lean into it all the way that then you can get trashed. But if you're leaning into it, then it's awesome. It's great fun. It's very self-referential. It's like they that they're in on the joke too, so it's fun. So I'm a big fan of the Fast.
They don't take it too seriously, which is good.
But yeah, driving games. I played Forza a lot on the 360, and then I didn't get into the other ones because I can't play unless I have a wheel and pedals. Like, I can't do controller driving. I hate it. It just doesn't feel right, and it has to be a wheel with force feedback. And so I had that for the Xbox 360, so I played a lot of Forza on that all the time. I played Dirt. Dirt was really fun. That was the first time I ever saw Pikes Peak, and they did such a good job with it. Like, I watch a lot of Pikes Peak hill climbs now, and just from playing the race in the game so many times, like, I know all the turns. It's crazy. Like, it's very familiar to me, even though I've never been to Pikes Peak. Like, I can go through and I know everything. Same thing with Nürburgring, and they did a great job with Laguna Seca, because I've actually driven on that track, and it felt like driving on Laguna Seca. Like, when you get to the oh man, I'm forgetting. It's not carousel. Carousel's on what was it called? The corkscrew turn at the end. I'll remember the name. This was so many years ago. But yeah, sure. I love those games. So I got to find another wheel for current gen so that I can actually start playing those, because I mean, I miss that. I miss big driving games.
Yeah, shout out to Logitech. I got a wheel from them, and it's been pretty good, man. Just ease of use and good feedback. I think it's one of the high-end ones that they've got, but it's still pretty accessible in terms of price.
I mean, that's something that, like, I love those so much that's an investment I would make, would be in a good wheel and pedals. Might even well, we don't have a huge house, so like I've seen some of these people that have made like these budget pods for yourself to race in and set up your stuff in out of like PVC, and I would love to make something like that, but like there's no space anywhere, especially now I have 2 young kids, so they have just stuff everywhere, and I don't think it would go over too well with my wife if I just like put this massive PVC pod in the living room.
How old are your kids, mate?
Kids' toys. They're 5 and 7, and they're huge gamers too.
Nice.
Man. We're just big gaming family. They play Minecraft. They've been teaching me about Minecraft. My daughter was the first one to teach me how to build a cobblestone generator, amongst many other things. So I mean, she
Love it.
is the one that taught me about all this stuff. So it's funny because we all started playing this world. We game together, family that games together and all that. So on Friday nights, we have this Minecraft world that we set up, and so all of us would join in on this world, the 4 of us, and we'd just go through the Minecraft world and quest and go on adventures and all of that. But then the funny thing is that my wife and I started playing the world after the kids went to sleep, and then we started like building stuff, and then we started getting like really oddly protective of this world. So like the kids would join in, and they'd be going into the chests and just grabbing all the iron and making stuff and like taking the diamonds. I'm like, you can't just take the iron and not replace it. Like, you're taking full stacks of iron, and now when I need to make a pickaxe, I got nothing. I'm like,
are you not in creative?
And then no, not in creative. We're doing this in survival.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then they would still be asking me, does anybody have any iron? And I'd be like, you took all the iron. Go mine some. Like, and then and so now it's almost like we kind of want to play this level ourselves, because like every time they come in, they'll mess up some stuff. But I mean, it's been a good experience for us in terms of just teaching us patience and all of that. But it's been really fun. Like they do teach us a lot.
Do they know about Dad's job?
They do. They do actually, and it's funny how unimpressed they are by it because one of the early games that they started playing in their gaming experience was Knack and Knack 2, which I was one of the main characters in.
Lucas.
And yeah, it was Lucas, and there were a lot of cinema scenes in that game. And so I would get like all excited when one was about to come up because I was gonna watch them and say, hey, you know, this is where Daddy, and then all of a sudden before I could even get the words out, this is where Daddy is gonna, you know, have a scene or whatever. They're already, you know, pushing the buttons to skip through the scene so they could get to the level, and I was just like, thanks. I feel so appreciated. But I mean, I think then they'll I can't even talk today. There'll be other things that happen where my daughter's gotten really into anime, and so she'll be watching something, and then like after she finished it, you know how Netflix will like give you previews for something else, and so the preview was for Voltron, and she heard my voice, and she looked at me just like with this look like, yeah, that's pretty cool, and then I felt good. I felt like
nice.
a success as a father. So.
Nice. We are here thanks to Blizzard ANZ connecting us today, thanks to World of Warcraft Shadowlands.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
You mentioned you love World of Warcraft, but
yeah, I played this game before I even got the role to be in it.
Well, so you must have been thrilled when you actually finally got cast. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I was thrilled when I got the audition because I knew exactly who the character was. Before this, Anduin didn't really have. He didn't have a big role. He was just this NPC kid in Stormwind that just stood by the throne and was a kid. And at that point, I was playing Horde, and so I went and I would try to attack this kid, and he was a non-actionable NPC, so you couldn't. But that's what I would you know stealth in and sneak in there, and I'd try to whip him up.
Yeah.
And such luck. But as soon as I got this audition, it was for the Pandaria expansion was where they really started to flesh out his character and make him more of a thing. So as soon as I started reading this stuff, I'm like, I know exactly who this is. Oh my God, I know who they're talking about. I know where this is. This is WoW. This is for WoW. And so I immediately like knew all of the context without them even having to tell me anything. And when you have auditions for stuff, they're as cagey with it as possible.
So they wouldn't have said it was Warcraft? Sorry to cut you off, but they wouldn't.
No, they did say they did say it was World of Warcraft. But I knew exactly who they were talking about in the scene and all that. Like as soon as I started reading the description, they're like, he's a young prince, and I was like, this is Anduin. This is the guy. But with a lot of other things, I mean, I've done auditions where they won't even send you the script unless you sign an NDA first, and the script has names changed and situations changed and stuff, and it's got a code name, and you don't even know what it is until you get the part. And I actually don't really like that because if I sign an NDA, I'm not going to say anything. Like that's the whole point of the NDA, and I value my career, so I'm not going to blackball myself by spilling the beans on something. But I feel like you would have so much more. You would be able to bring so much of a better audition if you knew what series this was for, because there's a lot of people that audition for these parts who are, like myself, gamers. And so we're familiar with these things. And obviously they could give me the same script, and if it was going to be a game like Fallout versus a game like, I don't know, Fable? No, not, that's, or a game like, I don't know, like Ratchet and Clank versus something that's like much darker in tone. You could have the same scene, the same words, and I'm going to bring a totally different vibe to it based on what the series of game is, because I know the tone. And I feel like without that information,
it's hard sometimes.
You don't really get the actor putting in the full potential of what they could have done in the audition, because you know they're kind of guessing on what the tone of the game is. They're guessing on what the feel is.
So the percentage of your auditions now, how many would you get the script versus not in gaming?
We don't get the full script. We get like
no, I know, but like
like
like good versus bad. What's the percentage there, you reckon?
I mean, it depends. I'd say about half and half. Half and half, you get like a good amount of information. No, it's probably like 60-40. Like 40% you get a lot more information, and 60% it's really just locked down.
Yeah. Is that just because of the NDAs around it and not wanting to reveal anything? What it is?
Like there have been actors who can't keep their mouth shut. So I mean, they ruin it for us all. They ruin it for everybody, man. Like you got one job, well, two jobs. Do a good job, on the acting part and keep your mouth shut about the stuff you're not supposed to talk about. Like, that's all you got to do.
I think
that's all you got to do.
They're getting better, aren't they? I think.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah.
No, that's a no.
Yeah.
No. So, World of Warcraft. So, you playing through this expansion now? What? Talk us a bit about it, mate. I'm keen.
Well, I haven't started playing the one that just came out this week.
No.
The new patch. I just downloaded the update today, so I'm actually pretty excited to get to it this week. Yeah, this has been a pretty serious expansion for our boy Anduin, because up until now, like, I won't say that he's been without struggle. I mean, he lost his father in a really, really horrible way. He has been thrust into being the leader of the entire Alliance faction. He's still questioning his abilities. He didn't start out being a fighter. He was a priest, and this wasn't like the role that he envisioned himself stepping into, let alone without the guidance of his father. And then so now he's had to make all of these decisions, and he's in some cases been kind of naive and a little too trusting, and so he's seen the aftermath of a lot of his decisions, where, you know, he'll go into a certain battle with a certain strategy and he loses a ton of people, and he's had a rough time. He's had a rough go of it. But he still tries to stay positive and see the best in people. But now he's in a situation where he's been imprisoned, and he's you know, kind of mind controlled and got some other stuff going on. So you know, where it last left off, which is the last part I can talk about, is you know, under the influence of some pretty bad actors, has kind of done some bad things to the Archon, and you know, it looked like in the cinema scene, it looked like he kind of had this glimmer of realization, like kind of peeking through the control, and he's gonna definitely have to live with what he did. So for somebody that's been like the golden boy of the Alliance, I'm curious to see how that's gonna pan out. But yeah, he's really being tested at this point, and even though, like, if you're really, really deep into the lore and you kind of see what has happened before with, you know, the burning of Teldrassil, where you know, his friends, the elves, you know, they've had their whole home burnt, just like genocide pretty much. Like, he's had a lot of bad things happen, kind of under his watch, but you know, this is testing him directly in his being. So it's super interesting. I like that this kind of stuff's being thrown at him. Yeah, it's an interesting place to be.
Excited to get in and get going?
I'm very excited to get in. And see where I'm at, and see if I can save myself. You know? And I'm also super excited for all of my gear to be completely obsolete now and have to go on the farm.
That's the way, isn't it?
That's always the way. But I was in a good place when it left. You know, I was able to hold my own in PvP. I'm not the best, but you know, I was doing all right.
You weren't a bot. You were going all right.
No, definitely wasn't a bot. No.
I love your reaction as well to the trailer that you posted a couple of months ago.
That was so cool, man. And like, I had a couple people in there who, and I responded to them, where they're like, dude, how can this be a reaction? Like, you know it was going to happen. But like, yes, I knew where the story was going to go, but on the other hand, like, I'd never seen the final animation. I'd never heard the music. I'd never heard the other people's performances. I never saw the staging and how it was all going to be paced out, or the feel of it. I didn't know which takes that I did in the booth they were going to use. So
the only thing you knew was the story. That's you didn't know how it put together.
And my section of it, I didn't even get the first half of that cinematic. And that cinematic where the jailer and I just lost my headphone.
Ah, okay, right.
Right. In that cinematic where the jailer and Sylvanas are talking, I was not privy to that. Like, it was just my part of it. That's probably how Blizzard really kind of combats a lot of leaks, is that they'll give you access to what you need and little else. But you know, again, I'm there to ask questions. Our wonderful voice director Andrea and our writer Christy, our writer Christy, and our cinematic director Taryn. You know, they're always there to answer questions and kind of give us backstory where we need it. So they made the process a lot easier. And then also just being a big WoW player since vanilla, I'm familiar with a lot of the lore already, so it's really just having them fill in those little gaps.
Was this
But yeah,
voice
so,
or mocap, mate?
it was voice.
Voice.
I didn't do mocap, but they did do facial reference. And that was actually recorded during the pandemic. The pandemic really set back a lot of things because for a while, I mean, I think I even heard that they had talk of Shadowlands being like a voiceless expansion because they weren't sure if they were
Really?
going to be able to get. They weren't sure if they were going to be able to do the performances with all the lockdowns and everything. They weren't sure that they were going to have people with broadcast quality booths and all that. So I was luckily able to do it right from here. And so I set up a camera in my booth so that they could also take if they needed facial reference or whatever for that. But they also do a lot of the mocap right there on their own stages. So and there's I think they have a mocap acting team that acts out a lot of those parts.
Okay.
So yeah, so I mean, and again, like I wasn't privy to that. So when I was reacting to that, like it was really just to see how it all came together, and they always, pun intended, wow me with their cinematics because they do such an amazing job, and so it's always a treat for me to watch them. It's always a treat for me to go back and play old content that I might have been away from. Like there are a lot of expansions that like I've taken breaks from WoW.
Everyone does. Everyone does. Yeah.
Yeah, and so now I go back and I want to play that old content, and then the cinematic will pop up, and I'll get to see it and experience it, and that's great. I mean, that's like the payoff for doing this big quest or this raid. I mean, I just had a stream. Was it Sunday? Yeah, it was Sunday. This last Sunday, where we did a tour of Legion. So I had a bunch of viewers from my Twitch stream just come in, and we did all of the Legion raids in Mythic difficulty, just for to farm the old gear for like transmogging and all of that. And it was super fun. And like the last boss of one of them was still really challenging because even though we had enough damage and stuff to take him down really easily, the mechanics of the fight were really challenging. Like we were just getting knocked off the platform like ping pong balls, and it took probably about six attempts maybe before we were able to clear him, and it felt great, you know. And I could just imagine like the people that were fighting this when it was current content, and when like you don't have the ability to just be able to take him down with 10 people and whatever gear they're wearing, like it must have been crazy difficult. And that feeling that I had when we finally beat him, if you were one of these guilds that had wiped on him hundreds of times or 100 times or whatever, and I mean that's days and days and days worth of raiding. That probably must have felt incredible.
What a series though! Like
see that cinematic and that payoff must have been just amazing.
What a series though to span over 20 years is it now? I mean, it's just they just keep going, don't they?
Has it been 20 years? It hasn't been 20 years.
Maybe it's coming up 20 years, I think. Yeah.
I'm so old.
Well, I couldn't believe, mate, that you were young Hercules in the Hercules.
Yeah.
Dude, that I was 4 when that came out. Like
Thanks.
that's a childhood movie. But you don't you look about 5 years older than me. I don't understand it. Like that movie is my childhood, man. I reckon I watched it 10 times.
It was, man, that was a great movie. It was supremely underrated at the time.
Very underrated.
Super fun movie. Great music. Incredible music. I'm still friends with Susan Egan. She's super sweet. Yeah, that was a super fun movie to be on, and at the time I was very aware of how big of a deal it was. I'm like, I know that I'm only in like the first 20 minutes of the movie, but like I'm kind of a Disney prince. Like that's a bucket list thing. Like that's like an achievement that as a voice actor like you covet, and to be able to have experienced that was pretty amazing.
Have you watched it with your kids, that movie?
Oh yeah. They love it. They love it.
Oh,
we watch a bunch of Disney movies and been watching a lot of musicals. They love Hamilton. My 5-year-old son is obsessed with the King, and his favorite line to sing is "I will kill your friends and family." So
What a great musical, Hamilton.
Yeah, no, really fantastic musical. We just watched In the Heights because we're big fans of Lin-Manuel, but also my wife is Latina and I'm Latino, and so just seeing a lot of the culture stuff that we grew up with in that movie was great. Music was great. So We've been seeing a lot of musicals with the kids.
I love it. Joe here says you're the voice of Hesten from It's Pony.
Yeah. That's been a super fun. That's been like a surprise of a show because like I see so much activity on my Twitter about it, and I didn't know that it was going to get so popular. Like I knew it was funny, but it's really picked up quite an audience, and it's been so much fun. It's a totally different character than what I usually play. Like he's like a kid, and yeah, he's a little overconfident, and he's got amazing red hair. But yeah, that's been a really fun one, and the cast has been fantastic. It was a highlight of my Tuesdays because that was the day that we would usually record. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun to do that.
Is that done now? That was a series, yeah.
Yeah, it's still on.
It's still going. Oh, so you're still doing that every year?
No. But it's.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure they're still airing episodes.
Oh, okay. No worries. Happy birthday to Josh's wife.
Oh, I'll tell her. Thank you on her behalf.
Ocelots provide creatures they prefer to hunt alone. Oh, that's one of the lines, isn't it?
Ocelots are proud creatures. They prefer to hunt alone.
Dude,
was that what it was? I forgot all the lines from that.
I can't believe you're Ocelot in MGS. I mean,
I couldn't believe that game had such a huge following. Like I was because when I first did that was one of my first voiceover roles, and so I didn't go into it knowing anything about Metal Gear Solid at all. And so I didn't know anything about the story. I was really just kind of relying on the voice director, Chris Zimmerman-Salter, to kind of push and pull me where it needed to be. And to this day, like there's still so many people that will come up to me at conventions and just want to talk about Metal Gear and about Ocelot and tell me how much they love that performance. And it's funny because now when I go back and watch it, because I went and I've gone and I've watched all the cinema scenes and everything, and it's a cool character. Like I never really appreciated how cool of like his entrance is awesome, and yeah, like I can see why people like that character. He's super cool. He's super cool. And David Hayter was such a fun Snake. We didn't even get to record any of that stuff together. That was all done separately and put together after the fact. And I didn't even really know him at the time. I didn't really become friends with him until probably, I mean, I'd met him a couple times, but in terms of like actually becoming friends with him was probably just within the last few years where we saw each other at conventions and bonded in a bar at one of them and just, you know, having some drinks and chatting about old times. And now he's my buddy. So, you know,
I've had him on. He's such he's so fun to talk to, isn't he? He's a great guy.
He really is. Yeah. He has the best stories, man. I won't say any of them because, you know, I don't know which ones were just for me. But yeah, he's an incredible guy, man.
And a very good writer too. Very good writer.
Absolutely. Really good writer. And you know what? He tells stories the way he writes. Like when he's telling a story from his life, you're soaked into it. You can't look away. You can't look away from him. You can't pay attention to anything except the story he's telling you. It's the man has a gift.
So you look back on that fondly and just think, wow, I mean, I'm just lucky, hey?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I would like to be able to take credit for you know, my talent and, you know, all the...
No, there's definitely some talent.
But there's a huge amount of luck that's part of it. You know, a lot of it is being right there when the audition comes in. I mean, there's a lot of parts that I missed out on because for a while I was in a boy band and we were touring and we were gone for 2 years. So for 2 years I wasn't even in the acting game at all. And so, you know, who knows what I might have gotten had I not really done that and focused solely on acting. Like a lot of it really is just the luck of being in the right place and then being prepared. So that when the luck comes, you're ready to jump on it.
Do you regret that, doing that for those years? Or
I don't, because I got to travel. I got to learn about a lot of stuff. I met a lot of great people. I love music, and it was a great experience. There were things that I probably would have done differently. Like definitely, our manager was scummy. Like, you know how Lou Pearlman pretty much exploited everybody and all that. Well, he wasn't our manager. The thing about Lou Pearlman is that as scummy as he was, he can get you famous. Like all the groups pretty much that he produced, everybody got famous from them. Our manager was kind of like Lou Pearlman, except without that power. So, I mean,
Just the shitty part.
yeah, I mean, I went into debt pretty much trying to get out of that contract because he didn't want to let me out of the contract. He wanted me to quit acting. He wanted me to quit college because he didn't want to have to like schedule around my schedule. He didn't want me to act because the other people in the group saw me driving like a new car and they thought he was giving me like more money and all this stuff, and he didn't want to have to deal with any of that, even though I had my own income from that. So he wanted me to basically quit everything, and I'm like, dude, you've given us a $10,000 advance 3 years ago, and that's it. That's all you've given us. We've been in this group for all this time. This is all the money I've made on it. I mean, I have school to pay for. I have bills to pay for. I'm like, my parents are school teachers. You know, they can't afford to put me through all this stuff and all that. Like, I have to pay for stuff, and he didn't want to hear any of it. So I mean, at that point, I'm like, I got to leave the group. I can't do this. I can't give up my main source of income when I don't even know what's coming from this. And he fought it tooth and nail, and I had to hire somebody and. To get me out of that contract, which was extremely expensive, and so pretty much most of my savings went to getting out of this contract, and so I was starting from zero at that point.
But you,
so I mean,
you don't regret the experience, though.
I don't regret the experience, but I regret parts of it in terms of like how it affected my life. But I mean, I met a lot of amazing songwriters. I made a lot of friends. I got to see a lot of the world. That I do not regret.
Have you ever been down under here in Australia?
Never.
Oh,
never. And
Josh.
I want to go. That's one continent I have never been to, but I would love to.
You'd love
even for car culture too. I want to check out some of those Holdens. I can't get them over here. Well, I mean, they finally gave us the GTO.
Holdens, really?
They finally gave us the GTO. Which was,
really?
I forget what they called it when it was still only a Holden, but it was the one with the big V8 sedan.
They're done now, man. That's it.
Yeah.
They went under.
What a bummer.
Yeah. I don't think we make any cars here now.
It's a shame, man.
Yeah.
Globalization. The global economy.
Joe here says, could you please do a Hesten impression, Josh?
Well, this is pretty much what Hesten sounds like. He thinks he's fantastic and that he could do everything just amazing. But sometimes he falls on his face, and that's Hesten in a nutshell.
Dude, you've got such an incredible range on that voice, man. That's seriously, I don't know how you do it. You are a pro. Canna here says, "Hey Josh, look through your credits. I saw you were Flash in Justice League Crisis. What a great movie."
That was a great movie.
What a great movie that was, man!
The late Dwayne McDuffie. That was one of his babies, and he's the one that really pushed to get me to be Flash in that. And man, I miss that man every day. He was taken way too soon, and I love his wife Charlotte is such an amazing person, and he has so many. He's inspired so many people, and yeah. So it's bittersweet when I think about that movie because it was / is an amazing movie. It's a great movie, just great performances, great story all around. But I can't think of that movie without thinking about Dwayne. So yeah.
But only positive things, eh?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he made a lot of great stuff. Static. You could go on forever about all of the stuff. I mean, a lot of DC stuff, just amazing stuff, amazing talent, amazing man. But yeah, that was a fun one to work on for sure.
The pinup says, "Stand as one for the Alliance."
Yes, stand as one for the Alliance. I hope that wasn't too loud.
That was loud for me, but I don't care, mate. All right. It's all good.
It didn't peak. I'm looking at my meter.
Okay, then you're all good.
I got my mic set nice.
Yeah. No, I think you're all good. What was it like playing Electro in Marvel's Spider-Man?
It was super fun, man. It was. I actually got to do the mocap for that. Yeah. That was neat. That was a fun experience. I mean, I've played so many heroes in my career that it was kind of refreshing to get to play a villain.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
And he was basically patterned after an electrician that came to my house for an estimate. And the guy was such a character. Yeah, the guy was such a character, that I had to use his voice. Yeah,
Are you serious?
Yeah, he was an electrician. And so when I got the part of Electro, I'm like, that electrician that came by my house, like he sounded like he was from the city. So let's go with him.
Oh my goodness, that's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Is it? You might be the only one in the world who's played Norman Osborn, Peter Parker, Electro.
That's
Who am I missing?
sordid little family here.
Who am I missing? You've played everyone in this universe.
Oh man, I somebody else even in there's somebody else in the other Spider-Man.
Even in the Lego games, I don't know who you've played in them, but
Yeah.
Apocalypse Thug, Harry Osborn,
Harry. Yeah.
John Jamison.
Harry Osborn was my entrance into the franchise because when I first did the first Spider-Man game, the one that was like the tie-in to the Tobey movie, and for that I was originally cast as Spider-Man, but then after we had recorded the entire game, the whole game, they got clearance to use audio from Tobey. So at that point, they didn't want to throw away the entire performance that I did, so they put in a hidden mode of play once you beat the game where you could basically play as Harry Osborn in like the Goblin suit, which was basically just a reskin of Spider-Man.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and then but because of that, I kind of became the de facto Harry. So even though I was originally hired for Spider-Man, I was Harry in the second one. And then they had another one, like a brawler called Friend or Foe that came out, and they hired me to be Harry in that. And so I was Harry in that. And then when I auditioned for Spectacular Spider-Man, that was when I actually got to be Spidey. So,
well, I was going to ask, because you've played Spider-Man so well in that series and over the years in the video games. I've loved your performance, mate. But like when the new game comes out and Yuri's casted, how do you feel, in all honesty? Like, are you just still happy to be a part of it, playing Electro?
Yeah,
or is
of
there
course.
A part...
and Yuri's my buddy, so like
Yeah.
I got to be happy for him, because it's like it's an amazing franchise to be a part of, it's a great club to be in. And so, like, if it was somebody who I didn't like, I'd be like, oh, man, she's mean, and all that. But no, I mean, it's Yuri, man. I love Yuri, and so I want the best for him. Yeah, I mean, I'm totally happy that it's him. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I always want to be Spidey, so it's always a little bittersweet, I'm happy that I get to be in the game. I'm happy that I get to be Electro. You always wish you could be Spidey. Who doesn't want to be Spidey?
Phenomenal game, though. The 2018
It is a great game. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I even like all the ones you were in, Shattered Dimensions.
That was a fun one, man. Shattered Dimensions was fun.
Yeah, Edge of Time, was that one?
Edge of Time too.
I've played them all, man. I just found them fun. They're different to the new one, but I mean, they're still fun.
My level gave me so much anxiety on Shattered Dimensions. The one with the water level, where like the waves are like coming at you. Oh my god, I got so much anxiety because that was a hard level. That was difficult. So it was that was super fun. I really liked that Dan Gilvezan got to be in it. If I had to cast that game though, I would have switched the performances for Noir and 2099. I would have had Chris Barnes be 2099, and I would have had which he ended up being, and I would have had Dan Gilvezan be Noir, because Dan Gilvezan is an older actor, and so he has kind of that old time persona, and the whole point of Noir was like this 40s era gumshoe, and I think his voice would have just been perfect for that. It would have been so cool. It would have been so cool to hear him as Noir. So yeah, I would have loved to hear that. And that was actually he was one of the Spider-Man I grew up with. Amazing Friends, man. Amazing Friends was incredible.
I reckon you should give, if you can. I reckon you'd be pretty good at Wolverine. If Steve Blum retires,
that's the part that I've always had my eye on, and because I'm also not a tall actor. I'm 5'9", kind of average height, and Wolverine is like one of the short superheroes. He's like the one that's holding it out for us us guys of not huge stature. So because I mean in the comics he's technically supposed to be like 5'2", like 5'2", 5'3". He's supposed to be a tiny guy. So Did
you ever play that PS3 game? It was a bit underrated, I thought.
They had a Wolverine game on PS3?
Yeah, years ago.
Oh, I never played it.
No.
Never played it, but I'll check it out.
I don't know if Steve Blum plays Wolverine in that, but it might actually
He's my Wolverine though, man. Like, and he's my Green Goblin too. I've
Yeah.
been Green Goblin, and it's still like it. It's me doing my best Steve Blum because
Yeah.
he's amazing, man. He really he owned that role. He everything in Spectacular Spider-Man, dude. His Goblin was out of sight, out of sight.
That's amazing. That show's amazing, man. Like, congrats on that. And you must look
Thank
back on that just thankful, eh?
Absolutely, absolutely, like that. And not only the fact that I got to be Spider-Man, but to get to be Spider-Man in such a show that was like a love letter to the entire series, to the entire franchise, the entire character, where everybody was just bringing their A game. Everybody down to the smallest supporting role, the smallest storyboard artist. Everybody was bringing their A game. Everybody loved Spidey, and so to get to be a part of a show like that, and to see over a decade later that it still gets the love that it does, that it warms my tiny webbed heart. So yeah, like it's really it's great.
It has
It's
a
great to
special
be
place, I
part of
can
it.
tell,
It
in
has
your
it has
heart.
a hugely special place in my heart. Absolutely.
How could it not? Dan, you're amazing, getting on my favorite voice actor, Josh. Thank you. No worries. Thanks, Josh, for being here. Knight, which Spectacular Spider-Man had continued after season 2? Love Josh's performance. I only hear Spider-Man's voice if I close my eyes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, they actually had plans for it to go 5 seasons, and each season was going to be 1 year of his high school career, and culminating in his graduation. So and then they even had plans to do like direct to DVD movies, which were going to DVD. What are DVDs? Direct, like basically those type of movies. Direct to digital now.
Yeah, direct to demand? Is that what they call it now?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
D2D.
Man. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Like, so they were going to do those where they could tackle some of the more mature themed Spider-Man stories, but in the Spectacular universe. And in season 3, like they had already set up a lot of other villains. You know, they had shown Morris Bench, they had shown Cletus Cassidy in season 2. So like, Greg Weisman was always thinking ahead, where everything was a seed that was planted. Like, a lot of people don't know this, but any character that actually had a name in Spectacular Spider-Man, anybody, was somebody that came from the comics. Even if it was just like a one-liner, it came from the comics.
That's great.
So if they had a name, there is a counterpart to that character in the comics.
But don't you love that? That's how it should be done.
Absolutely, that's fan service, man.
That's
like
fan
there's so
service,
many,
man. Love
there were
it.
so many like just iconic scenes in Spectacular Spider-Man, iconic shots. Like there's this one where like he's kind of in this in like this factory, and there's like these water pipes, and he's like trapped, and there's water pouring down on him, and it's literally a cover from Spider-Man. And there were so many moments like that where you can find this amazing shot in the show, and it's a cover from some issue somewhere. And even the Venom suit. The Venom suit, if you notice, the spider grew. So the spider grew until it went from like the movie Venom costume, and as the symbiote was taking him over more and more completely, it morphed. It basically started wrapping around him more and turning into the traditional Venom costume that you see. So I mean, there was just fan service everywhere, man, everywhere.
I just realized you're wearing a Spider-Man shirt, are you?
No, it's actually an Ant-Man shirt. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was close.
Yeah.
I was close.
I played him too.
Who haven't you played in DC and Marvel? Shit, you've covered a few.
There's plenty.
Have you ever done Batman?
No, haven't done that.
There's the next one, eh? My game.
Technically, no. There was one project that ended up not going anywhere where.
Oh, really? Okay.
It was kind of going to happen.
Is this animation or what?
No, it was a video game, and it got scrapped, and that's all I can really say.
I want to know more, but I know. Okay.
Probably still under NDA somewhere. So.
Yeah, no, all good, man. Omine Gaming, what race and class are you playing these days in WoW?
I play my main is a Worgen Druid, and it's a balanced spec Druid, Turkey Bear. So that's my main. I have my main before that was another balanced Druid, but it was a Tauren, so Horde. And before that, my very first character was a Night Elf Hunter. So I leveled up in Teldrassil on an Aussie server on Frostmourne.
Nice.
And yeah. And so, let's see. I just started a paladin. I just started a human paladin who is kind of a reference to the character that I played in Voltron because he was a paladin of Voltron, not like the sword and shield kind. But there's this episode that was kind of like a D&D reference episode called Monsters and Mana, where all he wants to do when he plays this game, he wants to be a paladin. And so I wanted to make a reference character to Shiro in WoW. So I have a human paladin named Shiro. Shiro the Patient, because I've unlocked the title The Patient. And Shiro's big thing was patience yields focus. So that was his big deal. So yeah, there's Shiro the Patient roaming around in Azeroth, and that's also me.
I love that you're such a geek, man. Because a lot of the
I've been
actors,
a geek my entire life,
dude. A lot of the actors I have on, they don't play. Yeah, and they're just too busy, or they can't find.
I always
the time.
make time for games, man. I always make time for games.
Love it, man. Don't stop. I followed you on Twitch, Josh.
Thank you very much.
Make sure you do follow Josh on Twitch if you haven't, guys. Is it just
twitch.tv/spacepadre?
Space Padre. I like
yes.
it. Shiro from Voltron is Josh's voice? Yes, it is.
Yeah. I basically talk a little bit lower, but Shiro from Voltron is definitely my voice.
We actually had David Kaye on the other day.
I love David.
Isn't he a pro?
He's amazing, man. He does the funniest Canadian because he's Canadian, but he like really turns up the and oh man, he's hilarious. He would do that all the time when we would be in Ben 10 sessions where just the ultra Canadian would come out all the time. He's hilarious, man. He's just such a funny guy and such a nice man.
He does a pretty good Australian as well.
Does he really? I haven't heard his Australian, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. He does so many things well.
He's pretty damn talented. Fun fact: Josh was originally Peter Parker until they got Toby. We just mentioned that.
Yes,
didn't we?
Yes, we just went over that. That is a fun fact.
Does Anduin actually like Talia 4 Dragon? Is that a thing?
I don't know. I have no clue. I don't really get into shipping.
No.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous territory, isn't it?
To navigate. Yeah.
Could you give us an Anduin line, Josh?
Let's see. I gotta remember one. Greetings, champion. That's what he always says when he sees people. I'd have to think. Let's see. Let me think if I can think of one from. Every time somebody asks me for a line, I always blank on it. But I did the Standas one for the Alliance. And
of course. Before, is it Hearthstone or Hearthstone in your opinion? How would you pronounce it?
I would say Hearthstone.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just saying.
Because I mean, like the hearth, where that's
what I'm trying to tell my cousin. He doesn't believe me. So thank you. You've cleared it up now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would say Hearthstone.
Yeah. Have you ever played that? Because you're in that, yeah. I mean,
I've never played that. I actually don't think I'm in Hearthstone.
Really?
Okay. I think I'm in Heroes of the Storm.
Okay.
It's a different game.
Right.
And that was actually super fun because in that one, because the tone is so much lighter, like they actually had a lot of like sassy Anduin lines, and my favorite Anduin is sassy Anduin. So I mean, he's got like lines where he's kind of awkwardly hitting on certain characters, and like he's just,
that must be fun in the booth.
Super fun. Super fun.
So fun. Yeah. If you know Taylor Polidor, I told her I
do know Taylor. Taylor's in It's Pony.
I wish you two and Noshir Dalal were also the main voices of It's Pony because your 3 characters feel like family to the Bramleys.
Well, I mean, we are recurring characters in it. I'd say that the Bramleys are basically Pony and Annie and the mom and the dad, and then they're her friends, and we're part of that core group. So I mean we kind of are.
Hopefully, I'm not butchering because that's the one piece of work of yours I haven't seen. So forgive me.
No, it's totally fun. It's a fun show though. It's got a lot. It's very wholesome. It's got a lot of heart. Everything's great in it. Yeah.
Did you voice Ryu from Ninja Gaiden? I believe you did.
Yes, yeah, Ninja Gaiden 2, I believe. Yeah,
Now
that was a hard game.
that's a hard game. I was going to say, you played it?
And you know what? Yes, and that brought me back to gaming from my generation, because now you got checkpoints and you got saves and you got all the easy things that make you die and you start right back where you died and all that. You didn't lose anything. When I was growing up, you die, you're back at the beginning of the level, and that's the way it is. And that's how it was in Ninja Gaiden, man. Like, you're back at the beginning of the level, and it's rough, man. And some of the combat in there was punishing. That's probably why I want to play Dark Souls, because I actually enjoyed Ninja Gaiden. I never beat it on hard. Never even came close. Not even a little bit close. It was hard enough just on normal.
That's one of the hardest platinums, I think, to get. Platinum trophies, yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I didn't even attempt to be honest. I mean, I got the Dark Souls platinums, but no, not Ninja Gaiden.
Ooh, that's an achievement, man.
That's a little flex. No.
Tips when I start playing on it. That's a big flex.
Elden Ring's coming too. That'll be good. Have you seen
Which
that?
one?
Elden Ring? Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's from George R. Martin, who had an involvement with it, from the guys that did Dark Souls and Demon Souls.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
Everything that I've seen from Dark Souls looks super interesting. Like, I love that aesthetic. I love super creepy stuff. So
yeah,
I'll probably dig it.
Question for Josh: what do you think of playing Anduin in World of Warcraft? You give me a phrase. Be cautious. Greetings from Argentina. You're a genius. And love the name Josh. I think his name's Josh as well, by the way.
Oh, nice. Well, hello. Hello, fellow Josh. It's very nice to meet you. Greetings from actually from the mall, but we won't talk about that.
If you do want a greeting from Josh, guys, you do have a Cameo, don't you, mate?
Yes, joshkeaton.com/ no, wait. Sorry, cameo.com/Josh Keaton.
So you can get any of your favorite characters. He'll do it for you. Striker, it's pretty cool. Bit of a bummer they didn't get him to voice Peter Parker for the final product, because Tobey Maguire's voice really felt phoned in.
I won't comment on that.
No, don't comment on that.
Work,
but what are your favorites of those movies, Spider-Man movies?
I like Tom Holland a lot as the character.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who I feel as a Spider-Man. I liked Tobey. I liked Tobey as Peter Parker. But funnily enough, from that generation of movies, Topher Grace, who played Venom, I think he would have made an amazing Peter Parker for that series. Because Peter Parker is basically Eric Foreman from the 70s show. Like, Eric Foreman is pretty much a Peter Parker. And Topher Grace has impeccable timing and is hilarious and snarky. And I really feel like he would have really been able to bring a lot more life to the quips in the suit. I just feel like, as much as I enjoyed the movies, and this is not a knock on Tobey at all,
no.
Because I still loved his performance and I still loved the movies in general.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like it would have been a snappier Spider-Man with somebody like Topher.
That's interesting take.
That's my unpopular opinion.
No, I love it. I'll ask you a couple more because I know you're a very busy man and you got to get back to that Minecraft.
Has it already been an hour?
It's already been an hour. Yeah, we're flying
no
by.
Way.
That means we're having fun. That means we're having fun.
Yeah, we are having fun, man. Absolutely.
Horizon Zero Dawn is one of my favorite games, man. Now I'm going to flex again for you. First person to get the platinum trophy in the world.
What?
Yeah.
You're a world first?
World first, all right.
That's amazing, man. Congrats on
Although
that.
I had it early, so it's a bit of a cheat.
Still though, I mean that's a flex.
Okay, thank you.
That's absolutely a flex.
Now I know you're in it, so talk to me about that. Was that mocap voice? How did that work? That was mocap.
That was a mocap role. Went into the Sony stages to do it, and no, that was super fun. That was super fun. I actually haven't even played the game yet. I have it sitting here.
What? Come on, Josh.
I'm getting my PS4 in here soon, so I'll be able to stream a playthrough, because I've been really, really wanting to play that. Like, everything that I've seen from the trailers and everything, and some of the in-game stuff that I've seen streamed, it looks incredible. So I really, really want to play it. My wife wants to play it, and I told her I'm playing it first because I'm in it, and it's one of my benefits. Yeah, so I definitely want to play that. I'll
might-
probably stream that.
It'll probably look nice on PS5, man. I don't know if they did an
Sure.
upgrade, but
Sure.
yeah.
Does the PS5 upscales, right?
Yeah, I don't know for that specific game if there's a little upgrade or anything yet, but there might be. But either way, it'll look good. It looks good on PS4 still to this day.
I can't wait to do that. I can't wait to do that.
You're an RPG fan, so you should love it, man.
Yeah, no, I love RPGs. I remember the first one I ever played was Dragon Warrior on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and they would give it to you for free when you would subscribe to their magazine. When you would subscribe to Nintendo Power, they'd give you like a free copy of Dragon Warrior, and unfortunately, I never beat it because I had very overbearing parents who wouldn't really let me play video games at all. So I had a Nintendo, and I got to play it maybe once every couple months for a few hours that day, and then I had to go back into their room locked away.
Special occasion, yeah.
Yeah, total special occasion, and it's like, how do you play an RPG when you get to play a few hours a month? Like, you can't. So I liked Mario games at the time. I still love Mario games. I'm a platforming fanatic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love platforming
Really?
games. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Rayman, like...
Rayman is incredible.
Yeah?
That's still one of our favorites, yeah. I played that on the Wii U, and then played it also on the 360, Rayman Legends.
What a game. Yeah, very underrated.
Yeah, super fun. Little Big Planet was great.
Little Big Planet, you're a fan. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Love it,
yeah.
man. Great game. Yeah.
But yeah, all the Mario games are still great. Like even the one, I'm still partial to the classics. Like I love Super Mario 2, Super Mario 3, Super Mario World, Super Mario, the new ones that came out for Wii U, and then also they're now on Switch as well.
Feels like there's a new one every year, but they've still got the quality.
They do, man. They really bring it every time. They managed to take something that is so old and been done so many times, and it always feels fresh, but still true to the original intent. Like, I don't know how they do it.
No,
I don't know how they...
me either. And what about Mad Max, mate? Because that's another bit of an underrated game that I loved, and I know you had a really fun character in that.
That was a super fun character. I got to do mocap for that as well.
Was that mocap as well? Shit, you've
was
done a
actually-
lot of mocap.
That was my very first mocap job, and you could see how far the mocap technology has changed, because now when you do mocap, you literally have a previs screen you have previs screens all around you where you can kind of see the volume, and you can see like the representations of what set pieces are going to be there. So when you're interacting with like a tape square, if you look up on the screen, you see your character kind of in real time, like Homer Simpson with the Animotion episode. You see your character, and it's rough animation.
Yeah.
But you can move. It knows what your fingers are doing. It doesn't do any of the face tracking, but everything that you do with your body, you can see it live, and you can see it kind of in this environment. So it really helps your imagination and everything. And they can pull the footage. I mean, they can record from that and then play it back. They can move the camera around just after the fact. They can do whatever they want. It's amazing. But back in those days, you didn't know if you got the shot until after they finished the day and took the hard drives and imported and pulled the data from the hard drives and then saw if it was okay.
Hold on, this was only in 2014, 2015.
That's how fast the technology has changed.
Really?
You didn't have previews at all.
What?
You didn't have previews.
I don't believe you, Josh.
It's crazy. No, it was crazy.
Shit. Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when did this tech coming in? Just recently?
No, I mean, it probably within a year or so after that, they started doing previews.
Oh,
And
okay.
back then, the previews wasn't even really all that good. Now it's, like, before then, the previews wasn't live. So they would be able to pull it off after the take and then check it. And then now it's live. It's getting more and more detailed. Like, before, when I did the first Knack, there was no finger movement. It was just, hands. Or whatever.
I had no idea Knack, sorry to cut you off, I didn't know Knack was mocap either, because I had Jennifer Hale on and she said she did mocap for it.
Yeah, they were completely mocapped.
I couldn't believe it. But that goes to show the animation and is spot on, isn't it? So it makes sense, yeah. So when's the
And
last...
those were fun games. Like I feel like Knack 1 kind of harkened back to original platforming where it was really difficult. And I feel like a lot of today's gamers were frustrated with that because they're used to checkpoints, they're used to all of this, and they're not used to punishing platformers.
I think it got an unfair rap.
I think it did too. And a lot of the criticisms that gamers had for it were completely addressed in Knack 2. Like they increased the move set. They had other puzzles that were put into it. Like it was everything that was a complaint from people about Knack 1, they totally addressed in Knack 2. And Knack 2 was a great game. And even Knack 1 was a great game. Like those were they were great in the fact that they were easy to pick up no matter who you were. My kids were probably 3 and 4. They couldn't even get their hands around a controller, and they picked it up and they were able to start playing it. And that was what actually taught them to play video games. And now they're crushing it, man. They've beaten Lego games. They've done all this other stuff in a couple of years. And that was the first game that they picked up, and it was easy enough for them to get started on where they're full-on gamers now.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah. Do you prefer the second one or the first?
I like I really enjoy how much more in depth the second one goes. I like puzzles, so that has a lot more. I like the expanded move set that's in that. But there's a fun simplicity to the first one that I really like. It felt like a platformer from my era.
Yeah. Is that Mark Cerny? That was
Mark Cerny.
Yeah. Do you ever meet him?
Yeah. Of course, he was in the sessions every single day. Every day.
That guy just seems like he's way smarter than me. I'll never be as smart as this guy.
Way smarter than a lot of people, man. His brain is like a supercomputer. It's crazy, but he's a really sweet guy, and it's funny because like when you first meet him, he can be very intimidating.
Really?
But yeah, absolutely. But then after you're around him for a little while, like he'll just kind of tell a joke, and very similar energy to like Bruce Timm, where
really
very intimidating at first until they do something where it's like, did they just make a joke? And then after that, it's like the floodgates are opened, and then it's just like, you're joking.
Yeah, right. Just a bit of ease period.
Absolutely.
Canna, what game or character would you like to be a part of in the future, Josh, if any?
Let's see.
Wolverine.
I'd love to be in a Borderlands game. Like, I love that series. Like I can't get enough of that world. The world that they've made, Pandora and everything, and the characters that inhabit it. I love that. And just the whole fact that it's like this late stage capitalism type world with like the scummy CEOs that rule these planets and everybody's slaves, and it's just, I feel like there's so much social commentary in that, and it's kind of hilarious and sad. But no, I would love to be in that series. Yeah, I mean, there's I gotta catch up on a lot of the current games because, as you've said, I've been so deep into Minecraft and Warcraft that a lot of the current stuff has really just escaped my eye, and I gotta reintroduce myself into it.
Trev, Josh, you were unreal as Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 3, but my earliest memory of you was Crispy in Area 51, an underrated classic.
God.
Thanks for the memories. That is a classic, underrated classic.
That was actually the first time I ever met Nolan North, because he had just kind of moved out to do stuff, and he was either in that game or he was recording a game in the same studio. And I remember I had just started dating my now wife, like just started dating her, and he does an amazing Christopher Walken, so I actually had him call her as Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. That's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, what a superstar he is, hey?
Yeah, he's awesome. Really cool guy.
Who don't you know in the business, man? Is there anyone you're yet to meet? I think you've named them all.
Yeah, no, it's. I know a lot of people. I mean, I've been in this business for my entire life, pretty much. So, in terms of voice actors, it's growing, but it tends to be a pretty small community. So it's
I know what you mean.
Everybody kind of knows everybody. Yeah.
But I don't understand how you're 42. I just still don't believe it.
I don't either, man. I don't know where the time went. I really don't. Like, I don't feel 42. I don't.
No, but you're young. You're young.
These kids from somewhere. Like,
I
guess you know what it is. Like, growing up again, very overbearing parents, child actor, so you kind of end up having a little bit of the Peter Pan syndrome. But again, like, I wasn't allowed to watch PG-13 movies literally until I was 13. I was not allowed to watch rated R movies until I was 17. And I was scared enough of my parents where I didn't test them on it. So in terms of like culture and all that, like stuff that I should have kind of been growing up with, there's a lot of stuff that I never saw, that I never got to experience at that age, you know? So I think just kind of being held back a little bit kind of stunted me in some weird way, where like I'm now where I should have been, or yeah, like 10 years ago maybe, or I don't know.
Okay. So you didn't rebel or anything? You were pretty...
Not until I was an adult. When I was an adult, then I kind of rebelled and moved out. And the thing is that when you have overbearing parents, like it's still not, you're still not expected to like move out. You're still expected to like live at home. And especially like my mom is real, you know, Latina, and she immigrated here from Peru. So there's like a lot of the old country mentality where you don't move out. You don't move out until you're married. And like, but then how do you even date when you have that kind of culture? It's just very suffocating, you know? So
Right.
I think Arrested Development, you know, but
Yeah.
you know, but and I mean, a lot of the stuff that I like is just geeky stuff, and I feel like things like games keep you young. You know, you have to use your brain so much, and you're constantly exposed to so many stories, and even acting. You know, all that stuff. It I guess it kind of keeps you young. You
Yeah,
know?
people don't believe you're 42. They're early 30s. 35
Sometimes.
at max.
Thank you. Thank
Honestly,
you. It makes me feel great.
35 max is what you're looking. I'm telling you.
Awesome.
I don't know what you're using, what moisturizers or what your wife's feeding you or you're cooking up.
I'm using a smoothing filter on Zoom.
Oh, that's what it is. So we've got wrinkles everywhere without the Zoom filter.
And in real life, my skin's just falling off my face.
Oh, I love it, man. Any upcoming projects you can talk about? I know we talked NDAs and that, but is there anything you can talk about? Besides, obviously, everyone should buy Shadowlands and get involved with
check out
Warcraft.
Shadowlands for sure. That's one thing I can talk about because it's out. There's a bunch, man, there's so much work that I did during the pandemic that is not out yet, but again, I can't talk about it. There's a couple of Netflix shows. Probably 2, possibly 3. I'm in the Dota show that's on Netflix right now. I'm also in It's Pony, which you should check out because it's a fun show. And I'm also streaming on twitch.tv/spacepadre. And I mean, there's definitely stuff coming down the pike, but there's really nothing that I can talk about.
There's some video games coming that I might be excited about, Josh.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. I'm excited.
The return of some things and
whoa, stop, Josh! Don't get in trouble. Don't get in trouble.
No, that could be so many things.
No, I know. No, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'll have to have you back whenever.
Yeah, no, I'd love to come on, man. This hour literally flew by. Like, this is how I'm 42 because the time just goes and you don't know where it goes and you don't feel like it went anywhere. But it has.
It flies when you're having fun, man. No, I hope you had fun. I really appreciate you taking the time,
I had a
man.
great time, man. You're great to talk to.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Guys, make sure you follow Josh on Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. Get a cameo. Am I missing anything, Josh?
Let's see. There's Instagram. My name on Instagram is Space Padre. My name on Twitter is just Josh Keaton. YouTube is Josh Keaton. Twitch is Space Padre. So yeah, if you look for either Josh Keaton or Space Padre, that's where it's going to be. And Cameo, if you want to get a shout out or little bit.
Love it.
I'll be at conventions probably this year as well because they're starting back up, and I've gotten vaccinated, so I should be okay.
Oh, nice. That'll be fun. That'll be exciting to get back in there, although it's a bit of a sweat.
Hopefully I'll do one in Australia, man. Like, I know that they have conventions out in Australia. They do those double conventions and all that. The reason I couldn't do them before was because of that job I told you about way at the beginning of our conversation, the gossip show, because I had to do that literally every day. So I had like a travel rig, and if I wasn't at home, if I had to do an on-camera thing or a session, I literally had to do this job from the car. So I had a setup that I could do it from the car. And I mean, with the time zones and all that, because it's so different in Australia.
I understand.
It's really difficult to do that, but that gig's gone now, so I don't really have to worry about that as much. So yeah, no. Hopefully there's some Aussie cons in my future.
Well, if so, we'll have to grab a beer, mate. Or
Absolutely, I would love it.
love it, man. Well, thank you so much. Before I let you go, is there anything Anduin can say to Dan to wrap this one up?
Yes. Champion Dan, light be with you.
Thank you,
Keep it
man.
short.
That's it, man. No, thank you so much, man. Have a great day. Enjoy your Minecraft session. And,
Thank you very much.
Don't die.
Deep in the nether.
Don't die to those creepers, will you?
Oh man, it's the ghasts that have been getting me, man.
Oh,
no,
really?
not even the ghasts. The ghasts are okay. Magma cubes,
Oh, they can F off.
I hate them so much.
All right, man. I look forward to doing this again. I appreciate
All right,
it,
man.
brother. Take
Have a
care.
good one. See ya.
There you have it, guys. Josh Keaton, great guest. I really enjoyed chatting with him. I hope you guys did too. Make sure you check out Shadowlands, World of Warcraft. Big update, expansion. Get your hands on it. If you haven't played WoW before, get involved. This is the time. And make sure you leave a like on the video, guys. Subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Follow Blizzard, Twitter, Instagram. And take care, guys. I appreciate you all stopping by. It's been a blast.